Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So this video is a little bit different than what I usually do. So today I'm going to be chatting with you guys a lot. So we're going to be covering things, updates on my life, stories of some things that happened behind the scenes while filming. We're talking about some of my favorite episodes, some of the crazy things that have ever happened. I'll basically answer questions that I've been getting on Instagram a lot lately and here on YouTube. Also, I'm just going to be doing this makeup look as we go along. I'll be showing you the different products that I use and how I achieve that look. I won't go too much into depth into the makeup, but I'll show you guys because a lot of you guys ask on Instagram what I use, you know, how do I get that look. But I just want to show you guys the look and get into the paranormal. First of all, I very clearly have terrible acne. I recently went to the dermatologist for the first time ever in my life. I can't believe that I've ever waited that long. I think I thought that the dermatologist was going to be really expensive. It's really not. So if you're suffering from acne, just go to the damn dermatologist. But anyway, so the dermatologist put me on some medication and my skin is actually doing a lot better than, let's say, like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I have a few different things. So the medication that I'm on makes me very sensitive to sunlight, so I have to make sure that I have sunscreen on. I have this CeraVe Ultra Light moisturizing lotion and it has SPF inside of it. So I make sure that I put it on a couple times a day if I'm not wearing makeup, but if I'm wearing makeup, I put it on before I put makeup on. Sunscreen is very important for you guys. Anyway, so there's not really a whole lot of things that are new that are going on in my life. Just like you guys were on my Instagram last year, you guys know that I love flowers. I love all sorts of stuff like that. So I've already started some seedlings. So I'm gonna put primer on before I put my makeup on. And everything that I'm doing, I have learned from YouTubers, like makeup YouTubers. So I'm by no means like a professional or anything like that. This is the Smashbox Photo Finish primer. I really like this one. So I am working on a couple different projects right now. Depending on when this comes out, some of those projects might already be out. So I do have a residential home that I did a few weeks ago. I think that is coming out this coming week. So that'll probably be up before this. But it's a really cool house. It's like a family heirloom type thing. They want to restore the house, make it livable, but they have multiple entities, I would say, inside of the house. Not really sure how dark some of the entities are or anything like that. He does eventually want to get the house blessed, so I am hopefully going to work with them on getting that done in the future, and if they're welcome to it, we can record that and show you guys something like that. I just want to show you kind of a little bit of that world. I'm going to use just a basic foundation today. This isn't really something special. The Infallible Pro Matte, the 24-hour L'Oreal Paris one. I like this one. This is a cheap one. I am going to use my sponge. So let me go wet that real quick and I'll be right back. I'm gonna try to make this more about the paranormal than makeup. I don't know, I think I've just seen so many YouTube tutorials that like, I don't know, like I feel like I should be explaining it to you better than I am. So I'm working on that residential project, working with them. They're lovely people. I loved hanging out with them. I would definitely go again and try to help them with that house. I also did a Randonautica episode, which might not be up till after this. I don't know why. I just woke up one morning and I was like, yeah, we're doing a Randonautica episode. I've tried it once. So when I actually lived in Pennsylvania, and it was me and Sabrina on the channel. This is way back, so only like the OGs will remember. Me and Sabrina filmed Randonautica, or us trying Randonautica rather. We filmed that a while ago, and it kept taking us to random places. Like it took us to a police station, it took us to like Walmart, it took us to like some random side of the road or like the swampy area. I don't know, so I was very frustrated and I was like, nothing's happening. And back then when nothing happened, I didn't put out an episode. I was like, yeah, people aren't gonna watch this, so I just like shut it down and got irritated. I actually went, now that I live here in India and not in a small town in Pennsylvania, and I just filmed what happened. That was all I did. And pretty much the same thing happened. I really like testing things, stuff like that. You guys have seen the haunted doll. I've been debating on buying another haunted doll just to see if we can get activity with that one, because I've had this one for a while now. I'd say probably almost a year, because I think I filmed that in like May or something like that. I've never gotten anything with this doll. I've tried different times. That's just something that you have to be aware of. Like, if you want to buy a haunted doll, buy from somebody. This is the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Concealer. I like this one. I don't want to say that eBay itself is a scam, because it's probably not. You can also buy them off of Etsy. I think that that specific person who was selling it was trying to scam people. Unfortunately, people in this field, we tend to trust each other a lot, and we rely on each other being honest, and sometimes people aren't honest and they take advantage of that. The person that sold that to me, I don't want to bash them. Maybe they thought that it was haunted or something like that, but they never really gave no proof as to why they thought it was haunted. They just said that it, you know, this is the person that was inside of it, or things like that. Like the Dybbuk box episode, that one was definitely a scam, which was very upsetting to me. I don't like being scammed. They said that they found it in the middle of nowhere, but that's definitely not true, because they had some things packed on the side that were the same exact things that came inside of it. So there's no way that that was just pure coincidence. There were just too many things about them that just made them seem like they were trying to scam people, which is unfortunate, but that's what happens. So be very vigilant when you're buying things like that. Know who you're buying from, know what you're buying. Just know that there is a chance that you can be scammed with things like that. This is the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Sweep and Lock. I'm just going to set this real quick. I've been trying to edit with the new editor, so I hope everything looks a little better than what it looked before. But I think my biggest thing is learning camera angles and lighting. We have the audio down now with the new mics. They have been very, very effective for the channel. Learning the new stuff is tough for somebody who, one, I do it alone, and I don't know anything about that stuff. So it's very hard to like learn from the ground up, and that's essentially what I'm doing with my YouTube. Like, I don't know SEO, I don't know any of that, so this is really the first time that I've ever really done anything like that. I really enjoy it though. I definitely enjoy my channel, and if this is your first time here for whatever reason, this is definitely not a beauty channel. This is just something extra I'm doing. So I'm gonna kind of go with what I know today. So I know nudes pretty well because that's what I tend to stick to. I really like the Anastasia Sultry palette. This is a really nice nude palette. As you can see, I've clearly used and abused this palette. If you are going for a pinky nude, I would definitely go with the Huda Beauty New Nude palette. This is a great palette. I've definitely used this one a lot too. The glitters and the shimmers in that are really, really nice. Anyway, so I think I'm gonna go with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Sultry palette. I really like this palette. There are a lot of things that you can do with it, but I tend to stick with what I know best. So I'm gonna take this color Birch over here, and I'm just gonna put it on the outer area. I don't know. Also, when I buy a new palette, I also like to kind of, I like to look up tutorials for that specific palette, just to see what ideas I can inspire from that. Sometimes I'll do my own thing, and then sometimes I'll try to copy like a tutorial. But anyway, I know that has nothing to do with the channel. My eyebrows need to be done. I know that. I'm trying to accumulate some new locations. I have a lot of stuff coming up in the summer. I think I'm going to be doing another Ashmore Estates episode where we filmed with Team Cert. If you haven't seen that, I will try to remember to put a link up here. Maybe it's on this side. I don't know. That one was a really good one. We used what was called a DR60. It's a Panasonic. It's old. It's an audio recorder that they used to use back in the day. And what it does is it actually takes what's happening and it shortens it. So I didn't realize this at first, but what happens is when there's no sound at all, it shortens it, so that way when you play it back, you don't have to sit through 5 minutes of hearing nothing. It'll just shorten it for you, and then if there is something, it'll play it back for you, which is really cool. But there's a lot of controversy as far as to when they shorten it, does it make it sound like something's talking, and is that why they're so great? People aren't really sure, but people love the DR60s. I've seen them go for like $3,000 on eBay, but I was very fortunate because Team Cert had a few, and we were able to use them at Ashmore Estates, and we got great results with that. So I will be filming with them again this year. They have invited me to go to Ashmore Estates again, which I think is awesome. They also invited me to go to this house in Kansas but I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make it to that one. I'm going to try my best. I know I tell you guys all the time that I want to start traveling out, but it's just really hard to do when you have kids. If you guys have kids, you understand. I don't work. This is what I do. Even though I don't get paid for this. This is really just a hobby at this current moment. Eventually, I do hope maybe I can start making money and it'll help with being able to afford larger buildings. Buildings are like hella expensive. I'd say for every episode that I make where I go on location, I spend about $300, if not more. It just depends on where you go. And I refuse to film during Publix because if you have people all the way down the hallway, like yelling and screaming, it's hard to say that something is paranormal if you can't control all your variables. So that's why like I don't film on Publix. So I end up spending more money because when I do privates, I'm all by myself. It's literally just me. Sometimes I'll have the tour guides on location who are just watching the building for me to make sure that nothing happens, or like if I need help, like if I get hurt or whatever, they'll be on standby. Sometimes I'll just have the building just to myself with no tour guide on site, which can be a little scary. Most of the time there is somebody on site who can watch the building and also watch like what I'm doing to make sure that I don't get hurt. You run that risk even when you're with other people. So, I mean, I don't see it as being like a big issue. Multiple people know where I'm going beforehand. They know when I'll be back. They know when I'm going there. I just try to be smart about it. That's all. But as far as it being like dangerous, I know a lot of people consider it dangerous, especially when you're dealing with like unknown entities and stuff like that. I've never really run into that problem. If you guys have seen the Monroe house, yeah, I ran into that problem at the Monroe house. But I definitely got out when I felt like I needed to get out. I tried staying as long as I could. If you haven't seen that episode, that is a damn good episode. That's probably the only time I'll ever leave an investigation early. I don't scare very easily, so that one was just really creepy for me. Also, if you didn't watch the interview, or if you didn't fully watch the interview with the Monroe house owner, you might have missed this. I ended up leaving my flashlight on accident at the Monroe house because I left so quickly. So I accidentally leave my flashlight and I didn't realize it till after I got home. It was like the next day. I texted the owner of the Monroe house and asked him if he had seen my flashlight. He said he would go in, he would check and see if he could find it. I told him I think I left it on the table in the Ouija board room or whatever it's called. He said he'll look for it when he goes in. He said he was the first person to get there and he didn't see it, but he said he'll keep looking. So I figured maybe there was like some miscommunication or whatever. Maybe I didn't explain well enough where it was at. A couple days later, I was working on editing the episode, and I very clearly left my flashlight where I thought I left it, which is the exact same place that I told him, and he said he didn't see it. So at this point, I'm thinking, you know, maybe he just didn't understand where I was saying. I'm sure that he'll find it at some point. So I told him, I said, whenever you find it, just let me know. So a couple weeks go by. He messages me. He says, hey, we found the flashlight. And that's when I asked him if he wanted to do the interview because there were so many of you guys that had questions on the Monroe house. He said, yeah, he would do a sit-down interview. So we do the interview, and during the interview, somehow the crawl space gets mentioned. If you guys watched Paranormal Lockdown did an episode of the Monroe house, and when they crawled in the crawl space, they actually found human remains, and they had to shut down production, and it was a very, very big thing. What Eddie thinks is that during the construction, they found the remains and that's where they threw them. So I think we were talking about that in the interview, and Eddie says, how did you get in the crawl space? If you watched the episode, you know that I was not in that crawl space at any point. You clearly see that throughout the whole night I don't go into the crawl space, and I even told Eddie in the tour that I wasn't going to go in the crawl space because it was going to be very hard for me to get up in there. Also, the floor of the crawl space is dirt. I don't really like getting dirty. That's not my thing. He's like, oh, you didn't go in the crawl space. There's no way you didn't go in the crawl space. And he's like very adamant that I went into this crawl space. And I kept telling him, no, I didn't go in the crawl space. Like, you know, it's too big for me. I don't like getting dirty. Like, I was only here for 2 hours. Like, why would I go in the crawl space? I didn't even come downstairs by myself because, let's be honest, I was too chicken shit. You can see the look on Eddie's face when he realizes that I didn't go in the crawl space. And I said, I have a video of me leaving that flashlight on that table. Like, I have video proof that I left it there. And his face is just total, like, terror. And we're both staring at each other like, what the hell are you talking about? And Eddie says that he couldn't find the flashlight when he came in that next morning, which he thought was weird. And actually what happened was he was going to work on the gas lines that were downstairs in the crawl space. And he sent a guy down there to work on it. Well, when he went down there, he found my flashlight all the way in the corner of the crawl space. Eddie also explains that after the episode aired with Katrina Weidman and Nick Gruff, there were so many people that wanted to go into the crawl space. So he actually put up a wood wall that is in the shape of an L, and it goes all the way to the back. So you have to crawl, like army crawl, all the way back and then all the way down that corridor. And at the end of the corridor, there is actually a door. He said it's screwed in with wood screws. So not only would I have had to crawl into the crawl space, which hell no, I would have never done, I would have had to army crawl all the way back and then unscrew wood screws with whatever screwdriver I would have had. And then it was on the opposite end. So I just think that that's totally crazy because that definitely wasn't me. And Eddie is not the type of person to lie about something like that. He knew how important that flashlight was to me. I needed it for filming because it's the flashlight for my IR camera. And we even discussed, like, is there a possibility that this isn't my flashlight? And I thought about that, but I have two flashlights that are from the exact same set. They come with my camera, which is a $300 camera. Not only that, but I purchased the battery for that camera at a vape shop in Pennsylvania. And that is the same exact battery that was purchased for my flashlight. So I know damn well that that's my flashlight. I don't know how it ended up from the first floor into the basement, into the crawl space on the other side of that door, but it was the craziest thing. I don't know. I'm so sad that I did not catch that on film. That is the craziest thing that has ever happened to me while filming. It was absolutely nuts. I have no way to explain that. I've never seen something actually move like with my own eyes that doesn't have an explanation. That is nuts. I know Eddie would not make that up because you could see the terror on his face. And I'm so glad that I have a video of that. But if you are curious about that, watch the Monroe House episode first. Watch the actual investigation and then go and watch the Monroe House interview. It happens right towards the end. I can actually try to mark it for you guys and then put it in the description. But if you haven't seen that, that's crazy. Eddie talks in that interview about the graves that we've mentioned. He talks about Katrina Weidman and Nick Gruff coming to film and what they discovered, like the human remains. He talks about that. He talks about his experiences in the house, super crazy things. It's so nuts. I would love to do a documentary on that house, but I feel like I'm just not at the point, I guess, would it be cinematically? I guess I'm just not at the point that I need to be in my skills in order to do a documentary at that house. It's connected to a serial killer. It's connected to a lot of different things. It's super cray. Like, as I learned more, like, it kept unfolding and it bothered me for like 2 or 3 weeks. That house was constantly on my mind after I filmed there. And I've never had that anywhere where I've ever filmed but there, which is super crazy. But I don't really have any other stories that match the insanity of that story. There are a lot of times when I've been filming where like something will happen that'll be kind of crazy, but not like that crazy. So I'm doing what's called a cut crease. So I put concealer on this brush right here and I'm just laying it down. It makes this sticky and I'm gonna put like glitter there. In case if you're wondering what I'm doing. The Madison Seminary episode was a really, really good episode. I filmed that with Sabrina, so that was obviously back during the start of the channel. It's very, very low quality. I do apologize. That is my fault. It was a low quality camera. It was one of the first episodes that I ever done. So I didn't really know what I was doing, but that building was also really crazy. A lot of people ask me, you know, do I ever think that I've encountered demons? If I ever had to take a guess at encountering demons, which I don't throw that word around very lightly at all. If I were to ever label in a place as having a demon, I would say maybe the Monroe House, maybe Madison Seminary. I'm just gonna do this. I am gonna kind of blend out that dark corner real quick. Also, some of my favorite episodes are some of the newer episodes. Me and Sabrina did Waverly Hills, and we did Waverly Hills by ourselves, just the two of us. I had a lot of fun. I don't think she had as much fun as I did, but her drive was very long. So I am actually going to put on a set of lashes. These are the Ardell Wispies. If you guys have a location that you want me to go to, definitely write it in the comment. I know I ask a lot on my Instagram. I very rarely ask on my YouTube. So please, I'm contouring by the way. Please definitely write it down. I would definitely love to go back to Madison Seminary with Sabrina and do a Madison Seminary episode. I would love to go and do a West Virginia Penn actual episode. That's probably what I'm looking forward to now for the summer. But yeah, me and my fiance plan on going to Pennsylvania for the summer. So if you want to meet me and you're out in Pennsylvania, give me a shout. And, you know, maybe I can do like a little meetup while I'm there or something. But anyway, I'm just bronzing it at the current moment, and I've noticed that I've gone through quite a few steps without telling you guys like what I'm doing, and I'm so sorry. I'm not a makeup professional, like I said. I am definitely way more into the paranormal than I am makeup, which is why I chose the paranormal for my YouTube channel. So now I'm going to do blush. This is the right one. So this is the Kylie Jenner blush. I met Sabrina where we worked, and then we just started bonding, and Hillview was the first place that we went, and we both loved it. And we went for a psychic fair, and we both had so much fun. We met so many cool people. We were on the tour. It was just a public tour. This was during the psychic fair, and basically you could pay $10 to go on this tour. So we wanted to do a tour of the building. I had seen it on Ghost Adventures, and my mom is a huge Ghost Adventures fan. Did the tour. I was downstairs in the basement. We had just come out of the boiler room. I was one of the last people out, and there's this mist that's like, I'm taking pictures, and when the flash was going off, you could see the mist like coming up to me, and it just kept getting closer and closer until it like engulfed me. And there were a lot of people who saw it happen, and me and Sabrina were like, oh my god, that was so weird. That just like came up to me, and you could just feel it. And as I'm explaining it to everybody, I'm like, oh my god, that was so awesome. And we're just like, we're all chatting, and we walk up the stairs, and there's two people, two tour guides who come running down, and they're like, oh my god, did you guys see that? And we were like, what? And they said, we totally just saw a mist walk up to you on the security camera. And I was like, yeah, I was taking pictures, and I was showing them, and they were like, we're gonna go down there and we're gonna investigate. And I was like, that's really cool. So we continued the tour, but me and Sabrina were so happy with it, and I posted on Instagram, and the people that saw it were like going crazy for it. And I was like, oh my god, that's so awesome. And then the channel just grew from there. And a lot of people ask me, you know, where I got my start. Okay, hold on. So this is the Buxom full-on plumping lip gloss. If you have a higher, you know, if you are sensitive to different products, be very careful. The Buxom plumping lip gloss is probably your safest bet. If you have a sensitivity to certain makeups, I wouldn't suggest doing the, what is it called? It's the Too Faced lip injection. I wouldn't suggest doing that one. Just go with this one. This one's just a little tingle. I've never tried that one. I was told not to try that one because I have a sensitivity to certain products. Yeah, so a lot of people ask me, you know, when did I get involved in, I just keep putting, a lot of people ask me when I got involved into the paranormal, which isn't a tough question to answer for me. When I was 15, I had an attachment. If you're interested in hearing the whole story behind that, I do have quite a few episodes where I talk about it. The main one is like a story time where I tell it. It's kind of dated though. It's a like a year or so old, so I look a lot different. But yeah, I explained what happened, but I had an attachment that was really scary for me, and that's kind of what hurled me into the paranormal world. But anyway, this is my final look, which is pretty basic. I don't do a whole lot of makeup sometimes. Sometimes I'll go all out. I'll like do the whole like contour, like crazy, like up here, down here. I'm a little lazy for that right now because I have things to do. But this is the whole thing. I hope you enjoyed chatting with me. If you like this type of video, comment below and tell me what other crap you want to see me do. Like if you want to hear more paranormal stories like while I'm getting ready, and you want to know like the exact pieces that I have like in my drawer, let me know. I know a lot of you girls ask me questions that sometimes I don't have time to answer, but I will very gladly answer them for you. And check out any of those videos. They are just on my channel. They're chilling on my channel. If you want to, hit the investigation playlist and it'll take you to every place that I have ever been, and it will play you through all the recent ones. It'll play you through the old ones. It's an awesome playlist to watch if you have time, because you can just see the evolution of like the new toys that I get, and just the upgrading, the Estes method, all the different things that I try involving into the investigations. And if you guys have suggestions for me, definitely leave them down below. And thank you so much for hanging out and chilling with me, and I will see you guys next time.